Hello, I'm Jimmy Eddings and I'm part owner of the James May Gallery, and I am here to show you what we at the gallery feel is sending a piece in that's ready to hang. So we in May are going to be installing our largest exhibition of the year. There's over 100 artists participating. It's the Art of Water in Algoma, and we will be receiving a lot of pieces, and what we mean by ready to hang might be different than what other people mean by ready to hang. What we want is hanging wire on the back of the piece, which I have here, and I'm going to show you exactly how to go about doing this so that you have a crisp, clean presentation for us to install. So here I have a piece done by my 5-year-old son, Forrest. It's a wonderful painting here. So first off, I have my tools set up. I have a working area set out for myself. As you can see, this is our utility cart. I do not want to be putting this piece face down on this utility cart with all of its mess on top of it. So I'm just going to grab myself a piece of bubble wrap so that I can protect the surface of this piece. One thing I highly recommend is when you are sending your work to a gallery or to participate in an exhibition, you want to make things as easy as possible for the people installing. For this Art of Water show, for example, we have over 100 pieces of artwork, so that's a lot of work for us to hang, and you want to make that as simple as easy on us as possible. So the first thing you want to do when installing a hanging wire is, the rule of thumb is you want to take 1/3 of the piece, and that's where you're going to be putting your eyes that you will then put your wire in. So first off, I'm going to measure this piece, and it is 14 inches. So 1/3 of that is roughly 4 3/4 of an inch. So I know 1/3 of 12 is 4. Then I have basically 2 inches left over, so that's roughly 4 3/4 of an inch. So now I'm going to measure down from the top, and I like to double check to make sure I have the top of the piece. I'm going to measure down 4 3/4 of an inch. Now someone can check my math on that. I know I'm close. I don't want to be half. I don't want to be way close to the top. You can simplify your math within reason, but you don't want to, like I said, you want to be to the top 1/3 of that piece. Now what I've done is I've taken a little tiny drill bit, which is similar to the size of my eye here. So I'm going to give myself a pilot hole. You can also do this by taking a nail and a hammer. I like doing it this way so that if I hit this with a hammer, it could shift the piece and potentially scratch it on the surface. This way I'm not moving that piece around, so it's roughly the same size. So now I'm just going to give myself a little pilot hole. I'm going to do that on both sides. And now I'm going to start to screw in my little eye here. So once I get it started, it's a little tricky sometimes. You got to get it going in that little hole. And just let the threads do the work. And sometimes, once it gets a little tighter, I use a nail and I just finish it off, because sometimes it's hard to turn with your fingers. And I go all the way to where that is nice and tight. Not too tight. There. And I'll do the other side. Okay, now it's time to add the wire. So basically what I do is I go 2 times through. Now this is definitely more important on the larger pieces. Smaller pieces, you don't necessarily have to go 2 times through. It's just kind of a habit for me. So I always do 2. And then I wrap this around several times. You want to try to keep that so that there's nothing sticking out. It's a nice clean wrap. It's not going anywhere. And now the rule of thumb is, so you take 1/3 of the painting to put these eyes in, and now you take half this distance to how far you have that hanging wire. So I have 4 3/4, so that's roughly 2 3/8. I'll just put a little reference mark on the back. And I want that to come up to there. So now I know I can give myself a little leeway. And then I have a cutters to cut that wire. Now there's all sorts of different tools to use. You can see this has got some use. So now again, I'm gonna kind of hold it to that halfway point. Twice through. And the reason you do this 1/3 and then have the hanging wire halfway is to ensure this piece hangs properly on the wall. If it's too loose, it's gonna fall away from the wall. If it's too tight, it's gonna be hard to install. And the nice thing about this hanging wire is now whoever's installing it only has to put in 1 screw or nail, and it can be easily adjusted for level. If you have 2 screws in there, you're relying on the person who is installing it, that they have to get those screws perfectly level, and it takes a lot of extra time to hang this piece. So at home you might think, oh, they can just put 2 nails in or 1 nail. In reality, this is the most secure way to have it hanging, and it's easiest for us to install. That's it. It's ready to hang. Thank you for watching.